Alright, we're back on PoE. I had plans to record and upload this video on Friday, but that couldn't be done. And I take full blame for that. I got carried away trying out wacky stuff, and after some frustration and some success, I think we went somewhere with the build. I think. Today I wanna talk about cast on crit, but it's projectile skills and not melee, and the story goes like this. Originally I was playing a chieftain spectral shield through cast on crit blade fall and ethereal knives, long name I know, and he was doing really good right until Shaper and his boys. While I was able to take the guardian semi-decently, Shaper was a big fat no. The DPS just wasn't there. So then I decided to turn this shit on its head and instead play an Elementalist Frenzy cast on crit Wave of Conviction and Purifying Flame. That had a bit more success, and that's what we're gonna be focusing on this video. But before we go deeper into the rabbit hole that became this character, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you slap the subscribe button. With all the boss of Exile con happening this weekend and a new league announcement incoming, Path of Exile is getting that breath of fresh air that it so desperately needs, and I plan to stick around with more PoE content in the near future, so if you're into that kind of stuff, be sure to follow the channel. Alright then, coming back to the bow cast on crit experience, it's weird actually. If you really think about it, this is the same playstyle as a Poet's Pen character, just more expensive and a bit more gear dependent. The tree is also a little mess with little room to experiment, as we want as much life, crit chance, crit multi and the dodge cluster. Since the character is a witch, we don't really start far away from these things, but at the same time we cannot afford to screw around that much. So let us see the tree and ascendancy, and then we're gonna talk about the gear. Okay, gear time. Let me warn you preemptively that this build is going to get expensive real fast. And that is because we're using very niche stuff while at the same time trying to get the most out of every single slot, while at the same time Blight's economy is pretty screwed up, so finding certain things can get a little bit out of hand. The chest is an elder body with attacks half percentage to crit strike chance. That is mandatory. It's also 6 linked and it came with a moderate amount of life. Resists are also something you may want in this slot. The weapon is a thicket bow. I wanted this base specifically because they don't ask for as much dexterity, it has a nice base attack speed, and it has shrimp thick fist damage, which helps us not kill ourselves with reflect. You want attack speed and chance to deal double damage, crit chance, global crit multi, gain fist as extra cold, and you're gonna craft increased cold damage. Next are the gloves, and we want Grim Sorrows. We need attacks half to crit chance as a corrupted implicit. Nothing else matters on this, and they are mandatory because they will convert 50% of the remaining fist damage on the spells to cold damage. The belt we are using is a tactician, and we want this one because it gives us up to 60% increased crit chance if the intelligence is at 200, which is really easy to achieve with this character. However, thanks to the route I take on the tree, the gloves, the amulet and the strength that comes in the belt intrinsically, that should be enough to cover that requirement. At the same time, it comes with global fist damage, which is also useful. The amulet needs to be a Citroen amulet, just to make sure that we have plenty of dexterity and strength. You also want life, increased global crit chance, a resist and an open suffix to craft a minimum power charge. We're also gonna be allocating True Strike for even more crit chance and some crit multi. Optimally, you also want spell damage and mana on this slot. Next comes the first ring, and that has Assassin's Mark on hit. It also has life, a resist, mana and a minimum power charge crafted on it. The other one has resists, accuracy, life and the last minimum power charge crafted on it. On the helmet we want life, resists, fist damage to spells and accuracy, optimally area damage or mana as well. Your feet gloves need movement speed, life and resists. If you need strength or dexterity, this is also the slot to get those. We want the boots enchanted with elemental penetration. The quiver comes last, and that has an ungodly amount of global crit chance, life, crit multi, a resist and crafted cold and lightning damage. For flasks, we use an Atsiris Promise, a silver flask and a diamond flask. For jewels, a Watcher's Eye with crit chance while affected by hatred is mandatory. Don't sleep on it. The rest of the jewels need life, attack speed and crit chance. Moving on to the gem links, it doesn't really matter if your 6th link is in the chest or the weapon, but the skills that we are gonna be using in that 6th link are Frenzy, linked to GMP, to cast on crit, Inspiration, Wave of Conviction and Purifying Flame. Try getting a 23% quality cast on crit to get more crit chance for Frenzy. I also recommend that you use level 21 Wave of Conviction and Purifying Flame gems. You don't need the quality for either, but the level 21 should give you a nice DPS bump. For auras, we need a 5 link and they are Hatred, Herald of Ash, Herald of Ice, Precision and Enlighten. Don't worry too much about the mana puddle you're left with, you won't be running out of it at all. You also need Baal, Righteous Fire and Frostbomb linked to increase duration. A level 6 Arcane Surge should also be linked here so you get it when you cast the Frostbomb. Finally, you need a Blink Arrow, an Ice Golem and a Decoy Totem somewhere in your gear. Okay then, now that all of that is out of the way, the character went through several revisions before getting to the version it sits in today. At one point it was using Glacial Cascade instead of Purifying Flame, and that wasn't hitting as hard, which is why you don't see the Glacial Cascade in the gameplay. At the same time, I keep using Inspiration Support because, to be honest, that support is freaking lit. It gives you crit chance and elemental damage per charge. It goes up to 5 charges. The spells absolutely adore this support, and you should too because it's very useful and hard to pass up, DPS and utility wise. The character can do almost everything comfortably, but a bit more of min-maxing can make her more efficient. I recommend stacking as much crit chance without moving a finger so that you can ditch the Diamond Flask for a Taste of Hate. That should give you even more DPS to play with. My biggest gripes are the attack speed and the crit chance. Despite going overboard with the crit, without the Diamond Flask we sit at 82% crit chance, and with 5 Frenzy charges and the Silver Flask, Frenzy's attack speed per second is 4.36. In my opinion, that is not enough, and I would have loved to get even more crit chance and attack speed for the base attack skill. That would have made the character feel smooth as butter and a lot more competent. Trust. However, my biggest pet peeve comes from the fact that we cannot use Nightblade support on the spells. Not only will we get crit chance for Frenzy, but the crit multiplier while it's active and the defensive bonuses will be massive for the build. As for the fun factor, it's there. Stuff generally gets killed pretty freaking hard. At the same time we shatter everything, so undead effects are not that much of an issue. So yeah, that's this build. If you really think about it, as much as it hurts me to admit it, you're probably better off playing cast on crit with a single Poet's Pen. You probably get a lot more mileage out of that. However, thanks to this character, I was left with a level 92 chieftain. And that guy, after some respecking, is doing some things. I'll see what I can do about him, maybe later this week, we'll see. Anyways, I wanna thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed the content, be sure to slap the subscribe button and share it with the few remaining people still playing PoE this league. We'll be back on PoE stuff soon, so I hope to see you there. With all of that being said, I'm out. Thanks again for watching and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.